Charting the Life Course framework has really, really helped me and my family. And I think that's why I'm so excited to share it with the people in my agency and sharing it with the staff and watching them share it with the people they support. Because initially, it's a lot of information. But once you begin to use it and in your own life and you see the connections that people make because you've provided them with evidence of a really wonderful representation of a person, then you can see that it does help the way that people think about that person. It helps the way that people provide services to that person. And for example, in my own life, I've used Charting the Life Course framework with one of my sons. Well, actually, I used it with all of my sons, but one of my sons in particular has multiple diagnoses and lives with physical disability. And so we have plenty of classes and IEPs and different things that we have to, engage with him that would go above and beyond what you would with a typical child. With my son, I've used it in his IEP meetings since the second grade. And each year, I get a little bit more confident in how I use the tools. And this year, I used the one-page profile that I created for my agency. I used it with my son in his IEP. And this had to be like the best IEP that I have ever been in my life. The number one thing that happened was I gave them the profile early on in the meeting. And that kind of shifted the whole meeting from the start. They looked at the profile and the way that the questions that they were asking me or the way that they presented information to me just came from a totally different, more humane aspect and not really rote, which is a lot of the ways that IEP meetings feel for parents, is that it's a rote process. You don't really get the information that you want to get, and you don't really know whether your child is progressing or not. And handing them that profile at the beginning part of the meeting, the IEP meeting, it really just shifted. The weight was lifted off of the meeting and everybody was really engaged in conversation. So much so that the IEP meeting went over about 45 minutes, which rarely happens. We usually stick to about an hour and then we're done. But the way that the team used the profile was they really dug in deep and looked at what they had presented as goals for my son and said, this is not enough, or they said that they needed to add in more information, or they needed to really kind of flush out some of the goals that he had so that it reflected the profile that was created for him. He has his picture on it, and it just gave them a full kind of viewpoint, and they were able to use even some examples from his profile as far as how they were going to engage with him going forward. So as a mom, it felt like I'm finally a part of this team. It was a partnership, and we were all working together. And I've always felt like a partner with them, but this was different. It felt like that I had what I said was included in the conversation, and it actually changed the narrative for the conversation. And I think that the way they see my son now is just even a better relationship with him, and just because they got to know him a lot better, and they have that profile with him so they can review it whenever they need to. And I also used it for his twin brothers. So I have a set of 10-year-old twins, and I use it for his twin brother who has a less robust IEP, but still he has some changes that occurred for him this year that needed to be really dealt with. And when I handed them the profile again at the beginning of the meeting, they were like putty in our hands, that we were all working together. We were very cohesive. And just to know that as a parent, I have that type of power to change the narrative for my children, it provides me with a feeling of, just awe in how things can work in your favor if you just take the time to give people information that is useful, and having it documented and having those deep conversations. I just really enjoy the Life Course framework tools. I really enjoy using them with my own family. I've used them for myself, and I've actually gone back and checked on my own Life Course framework, my own profile that I had done, my trajectory. And I'm actually doing the things that I put on there, even though I'm not revisiting them every day, or I'm not even revisiting them weekly. I'm still checking off boxes, and I'm still making progress toward my good life. And I know that if I can do it for myself, then I can do it, help my children, and that I feel more confident in being able to help other people live their good life. So it's a really, really wonderful feeling to be able to do things, see things that you're doing for yourself be reflected in your work and being reflected in your community. So I am really excited about using the tools, and I feel very blessed to have this type of engagement in my life.